beautifuls, this is Aromie here, and welcome back to Seduce Me, the Otome game. Last episode, Diana I'm pretty sure she's threatening Damien. So eventually all the five brothers have to tell me what's going on. So we're in Damien's mind, right? It's basically telling us the entire story of why they're here. So let's get started.
Oh, he'd definitely help us. I'm not so sure about...
Reistra, aren't you tired of pleasing father all of the time?
I am, but...
If you stay, you'll be married off and become ruler of father's kingdom. You'll have no time for yourself or with us, and you'll be constantly at war with the other realms for power. You'll most likely turn into the spitting image of father.
What he's saying is, get your head out of your ass and let's go. If you don't say yes, I'll drag your princely ass with us. I don't care what that bastard of a father wants.
Come on, Raistero! All right, let's do this. What's the plan?
I couldn't believe what was happening. I was seeing the entire process of their life before my eyes. They were nobles, and James was the heir to the kingdom and the commander who ruled. Even more so, he was going to be married to Diana. So he's the one being married. Okay, not Damien. Good. But eventually I will be sad that he's being married off because I'll be going through his role. They sacrificed everything to leave and be together. They'd rather be free versus being in their noble roles. I started to feel a little jealous. They were able to leave while I was still expected to be what my father wanted me to be. How they were able to leave was uncertain still, but I knew I would learn in time. I closed my eyes and mentally asked Damien to end the vision. As soon as I asked, the world around me slowly vanished, and I was brought back to the bedroom where I sat with my head nestled in Damien's hands. Oh, I kind of wanted to see more. Why did you stop? My vision began to clear, letting me fully see the boys around me, all with concerned faces.
So, you now know exactly who we are.
Diana's the girl you arranged to marry.
Not anymore. Once we left, the arrangement was broken. With no sons to marry off, her dad couldn't go through with the marriage deal.
If Diana is here for us, that means she's trying to save her kingdom from being attacked.
That's not true. She wants to rule our kingdom. Having one of us will give her the right to our kingdom as much as we'd have right over hers.
So you guys are both battling for each other's kingdom.
So she's a gold digger!
Well, with a kingdom like ours, what succubus wouldn't want to marry us for it?
It all made sense. She wanted them to finally take over an opposing kingdom. She knew that, despite her powers, she wouldn't be able to fight versus their father, so she had to find another way in. That manipulative... Before I could continue, I felt my head suddenly get heavy and dizzy. I gripped my head, mewling under my breath. What the...
I took too much. I'm so sorry.
Rest now. There's no need to do anything more today.
What did he take too much of? The boy suddenly rushed over and helped me lay back down as my vision was painted in white polka dots. I needed sleep badly. Instantly I closed my eyes and let darkness consume me. After what seemed hours, I finally woke up, slightly refreshed. My body knew that if I slept any longer, I'd be up all night, which was not part of the plan of the day. I rubbed my eyes and sat up, letting a soft groaning escape my lips. A response something beside my bed shuffled, causing me to look over. I didn't know what I was expecting. Beside me, sitting in a chair beside the bed, was Damien, rousing himself up to see me awake. I smiled at him, seeing his slightly ruffled hair and tired eyes.
Oh, you're awake. How do you feel?
Fine, I guess. Damien nodded before he looked down at the bed, taking my hand into his.
I'm sorry. This is all my fault.
No, not at all. I mean, it's partly my fault too, because I wanted you to stay. I was being a bit selfish. Damien, it's not your fault.
No, it is. I was the one who wanted to come to the human world. I convinced the others to come with. If I never did that, we'd never have put you in danger like this.
It's okay, Damien, but if in general, I wouldn't have met you if we didn't like, bump into each other like this. I quickly reached over and put my finger on his lips, stopping him from going any further. I didn't want to hear anymore. Damien, it's okay. I wanted to help you out. I offered to let you all stay. Nothing is your fault. I gently moved my hand and cupped Damien's cheeks, staring at him with concern. I didn't want him to hold guilt in his mind about this whole ordeal. Diana was desperate and should hunt any of them down, and hunt anyone for them. It wasn't his fault she was desperate enough to hunt them down. One thing bothered me though. Why did his dad scorn him? Why did Damien want to run away? The others seemed a little obvious, but Damien was a mystery. However, before I could be vocally curious, Damien gently held my head in his hand. Damien? Damien frowned and simply held me.
I'll show you everything.
Damien let out a small laugh, and his depression lingered in the breath he let out. Before he focused his energy into my head, my vision blurred and suddenly I was back in the demon castle. He didn't even let me say no. I expected to see Damien wandering around the halls or with his brothers. However, I found him alone, sitting on the foot of the throne, curled into a ball in tears. The room smelled of blood. My eyes couldn't look away from the tearful Damien. Damien. I knew he couldn't hear me, but I instinctively called out to him. He looked lonely. Where were his brothers?
Why are you crying?
Damien picked his head up suddenly as I did. As did I. Grandfather?
Who are you? What do you want?
I just want to know if you're okay.
Who are you?
Don't be afraid. I'm just a friend.
Friend?
I stared completely in shock. When did my grandfather knew them? Everything started going in fast forward. I saw Damien talking to the voice of my grandfather, seeing his sad face go from happy to surprised to fascinated and psycho randomly. There were even moments when Matthew joined him, letting Damien speak for the voice in the air. It was all unbelievable. Here, my grandfather spoke of the human world, painting it to be a beautiful world full of opportunity. How did my grandfather know all about this? About all of this? What was going on? My mind slightly spun at the idea that my grandfather delved into magic and demons. Eventually, the world around me slowed down to see the boys standing before the empty throne. They looked determined, stout, and ready for something to happen. Damien stepped forward and held his hand out to the throne.
O tenebris portas, aperiat nobis, laudiet exitum, desiderium.
What the fuck is that? My grandfather stared to chant a phrase unfamiliar to me, letting it rupture into the air around the boys. Gusts of wind started to rush through the room, like a storm rushing in. I watched, however, as a small tear opened in the air in front of the throne. It glowed an unholy purple color, peeking into a very familiar pink cafe. No way, that's... Quickly, Sam rushed over and dove his hand through the tear, pulling it open and making it larger and revealing the Pink Lady Cafe with my grandfather on the other side. My grandfather held out his hand, ushering the boys to come.
Hurry up, boys! I can't hold it open for long!
Instantly, the boys ran through the tear, climbing through and almost crashing into the tables and chairs of the cafe. I felt myself move through as well, joining them as the grandfather closed the portal. Oh wow, looks so cute! The boys looked around the space, almost mystified at the sight. My grandfather laughed, out of breath, before sitting down at one of the nearby tables.
There now. Welcome to the human world, boys. Let's see. Kay, make us some coffee, please. These boys need a drink.
I turned to see Kay, the owner of the cafe and the only other person in the room besides the boys, smile and quickly get to work on making coffee. I was dumbfounded. She knew about them? Who was Kay? I don't remember. I felt myself get dizzy at the thought, but I shook my head out and tried to focus on what was going on. My grandfather looked at the boys up and down before chuckling again. The boys must have been speechless.
You'll need a spell to cover yourselves up. Humans don't exactly have horns or parade around naked.
The boys looked at each other before collectively nodding and focusing their energies. Before my eyes, they went from demons to human-looking demons. They looked to each other, ecstatic at their new looks. My grandfather, however, cleared his throat and brought the attention back to him.
Now don't be rude to Kay now. Sit and enjoy some coffee. It's the best in town.
The boys obeyed, obviously in his depth. I looked at Damien's face, and he was almost in tears with joy. I could tell that he was beyond happy to be in the human world. I almost felt like crying for him, but I couldn't understand why. Maybe it was his facial expressions, or maybe it was because I would meet him soon after this fact. Eventually, Damien stopped the magic, lowering his hands and letting me come back to reality. I held on to Damien, who kept a hold of me to make sure I didn't fade. Everything felt so wrong, and yet it all made sense at the same time. My grandfather knew magic. My grandfather helped the boys. He cast a spell on the mansion and on me to protect me.
I was the one who convinced everyone to come to the human world. I was also the one who asked that man, your grandfather, to bring us.
So he helped you come through. What happened after that?
He gave us a wallet full of fake IDs and maps of the world. He told us to go anywhere we wanted and that he would pay for everything so we wouldn't have to use our magic. It was like he made us human.
My body just shivers once he said that. Wow. Damien laughed nostalgically. I could tell he was happy remembering how my grandfather had helped. I still couldn't wrap my head around it, but the answer I wanted were 6 feet under and unreachable now. You really wanted to be human? Damien looked at me, his eyes glimmering in both hope and shame.
More than anything, I still want to be human. I don't mean just in looks. Everything.
Damien looked to his hands, lowering them to the bed between us.
Humans don't read minds. Humans don't hurt people like demons do. I didn't ask to be a demon. I want to learn things, go places, and not have to be bound by magic or anything.
Damien. I stared. It was pitiful to see him like this. He looked almost like a child, begging me for something he really wanted. I wanted to help somehow. I just didn't know how.
It's all right.
Damien?
You've already done so much for me and my brothers, sheltering us, letting us continue to live here.
Damien frowned, though gently caressing my cheek with his hand.
I don't want you to get hurt because of us.
But I want to protect you. Damien lowered his head in shame. I couldn't help but feel my heart squeeze within my chest at the sight. He truly cared. Damien let out a small sigh before looking to me with a new smile. He'd hid his sadness well, but I could tell he was still upset about the whole ordeal.
All right. You should sleep.
But I'm so scared to sleep. What if Diana takes you away from me? I couldn't let him leave without doing something. I quickly pulled Damien down to me, lifted my head, and gently kissed him, softly laying a hand on his cheek to keep his face close. Damien stared in deep surprise before hesitantly kissing me back, caressing my cheek and slightly melting at the touch of our lips. A soft sigh escaped his lips before he slowly pulled away with a smile. He gently licked his lips. Okay, that's just creepy. Making me go red in the face at the simple gesture. He let out a satisfied sigh before nuzzling my forehead.
Go to sleep.
Fine. And with that, he stood up and left the room, leaving me to rest as per his request. I smiled to myself before relaxing into the mattress. Why'd you leave me? Like, you couldn't just stay with me to make sure I fall asleep and then go? Because I'm so scared.
How pathetically sweet.
I told you. I suddenly tensed up. I felt majorly uneasy. She was here. I quickly looked around the room, sitting up straight, before seeing Diana leaning against the window with a smirk towards me. What do you want?
Oh, I just wanted to see how close Damien was to you. Obviously, he's very close.
She's gonna pick him to take away from me just to kill me. In my heart. I stood from the bed, glaring daggers at Diana. And what's it to you? He doesn't want to leave with you, so leave him alone.
Oh, I will. I don't care enough for the bastard son to try and take him away. I just want you to know exactly what you have.
What are you talking about? Diana chuckled, which made me slightly sick to my stomach for some reason. She knew something.
Did Damien tell you about what he lived through?
He showed me when he left. He met with...
No, not that. Before that. Did he show you anything before that?
Well, he was scorned by the demon lord.
He didn't show you everything, did he?
Why would he need to? He showed me what he needed to.
I don't need to show her anything else.
Damien? I turned to see Damien glaring at Diana with a scary glare. I felt dark shivers run down my spine as I stared at him.
Ah, Damien. Right on cue. I was just about to show her why you hate your life and why you have a human fetish.
You will not show her anything.
Oh, I won't. Funny. I don't believe you get to tell me what to do, bastard son.
Stop calling him that. Before Damien or I could leap at her throat, Diana snapped her fingers, suddenly making the room spin. I quickly grabbed onto Damien, who held me close as the room slowly began to change from my room to the demon castle. Oh, shoot, she can do that? I looked around, feeling unable to move from Damien's embrace of dizziness. I looked to Diana, who was leaning on a pillar on the far side of the room with a smirk. However, my focus gathered on a pair of demons, one of them being the demon servant that was with the demon lord, carrying sheets and books across the room.
Damn that woman, ordering us around! I bet she thinks she's all high and mighty just because she bore that bastard son. Well, she's no queen. She's a simple harem girl. She'll never be queen. The demon lord reminds her that every bloody night. You'd think she'd let it sink in.
The snort that erupted from the servant's nose disgusted me to no end. How vile was this creature? Who was he talking about?
And about that boy, what do the other noble sons think about him? They treat him like an equal. He's no noble son, and he will never be. He's a bastard child that doesn't know his place, just like his bitch mother.
Oh my god.
Shh, you know he can read minds from a mile away.
Then let him read mine. I don't care. That boy's a monstrosity never meant to be born.
Damien was meant to be born, or else I wouldn't have met him. The servant cleared his throat, however, at the sight of Demon Damien, who was standing nearby with an almost cold, dead look on his face.
Ah, you.
Yes, me. I don't need to be a mile away to hear your thoughts.
Boy, what?
What I'm doing out of my room is no longer your concern. I may be a bastard, but I'm the Demon Lord's son regardless. I won't take insults from you anymore.
Then what are you going to do, bastard son?
Damien started to step forward. I don't know why, but the room suddenly felt cold and dark as Damien started to approach the servant.
I'm finally gonna shut you up.
If you threaten me, you threaten him!
Damien's glare could practically kill. I was afraid to even watch, but I continued, hoping to not see blood spill from this fight. Damien continued to walk towards the servant, towering over him like a shadow.
I've taken your insults for long enough. Now, I get peace.
Stay away!
I've had enough of you.
Damien stopped, turning his head to look up at the archway in surprise.
Mother?
Huh? Why is she just red? The demon servant slowly turned, also matching Damien's surprise as they looked to the archway. A figure, completely covered in red sheets, stepped out into the hall, slowly walking to Damien. The thick sound of chains echoed in the room, dragging across the stone floor. I felt something in my gut tighten, unsure of what was going on, but positive something wasn't right about it. However, the familiar smell of blood entered my nose, only it was fresher and much more potent. My gaze slowly trailed down to the stone floor, only for me to go wide-eyed at the sight. Blood, brushed over by the sheet of the woman walked, painted the stone a dark red and almost black color in the woman's wake. I looked back to the mother, now worried that she was bleeding underneath the sheet.
Leave us.
The mother sounded almost enchanting, despite only saying 2 words in her arrival. I almost let it slip from my mind that this was merely a Damien slowly nodded and turned around.
As you wish.
Focus on my thoughts.
I could tell that Damien was holding his breath. He must have cared very deeply for his mother. It was incredibly sweet. Silence lingered in the room, obviously of Damien listening to his mother's thoughts. It was almost awkward to watch. The hand that held Damien gently petted over his hair. The breath that Damien was holding slowly was let loose, letting Damien relax. Maybe she was calming him down. He was pretty angry. Why make him turn around? All she was doing was petting him and talking to him in her mind. It seemed surreal. Something was wrong. I looked around the room, trying to see what was going on behind the scene. Was someone going to stop them? Was someone going to interrupt? My eyes landed on a dark shadow of a woman walking towards the couple with a knife in her hand. She had shackles with chains on her neck, hands and feet, but they remained silent as the woman neared the couple.
I'm sorry.
All of a sudden, the mother brought out her other hand and took hold of Damien's horns, pushing him to his knees. What the is going on? Damien, no! The shadow quickly started to run at the couple, raising the knife higher above her head. I instantly wanted to move to run and protect Damien. I remained still, watching the scene unfurl before me.
No!
Damien kicked back, causing the mother to buckle and fall back and release his horns. Damien quickly turned and grabbed hold of the shadow's arms, tightening his grip on them. The shadow started to scream and bite at Damien desperately. Damien glared and threw the shadow at the nearby pillar, making it disappear and drop the knife it was holding. I looked to the mother and regretted looking. The sheet that was wrapped around her wasn't long enough to cover as she fell, the edge landing over her stomach. The lower half of her body, though, was covered with multiple different scars and blood. Her ankles both were shackled to different lines of broken off chains. Her legs were together, but I could tell the number of scars and the amount of blood only grew the farther up her legs she went. The poor woman. I stared at as a demon Damien looked to his mother in shock and heartbreak. The real Damien around me gripped me tighter.
Why?
In an instant, the woman raised her hand to the fallen knife, tensing her hand and fingers to bare her nails. The knife flew off the ground and into the woman's hands, making her grip over the handle tightly.
Enough. I can't. I don't want to live like this anymore. I won't let him have me again. I won't let you invade my mind again.
The woman quickly got up onto her knees and raised the knife over her head. I felt my mind screaming as I gasped.
I can't take it anymore! I can't!
No! Stop!
Enough!
Oh my god. I felt my voice vanish as I watched this woman, Damien's mother, slam the knife into her own body, curling over herself at the stab. After a choked sob and breath, the woman fell to the ground, curled into a ball as the blood pooled from under her and the already blood-red sheet.
No!
The world around me shattered at his voice, stabbing through my heart and my stomach like glass. The world fell apart and I was left in darkness. The real Damien gripped onto me, burying his face on my shoulder as I gripped to his arms. Did that really happen? What did I witness? Why would Diana reopen this kind of wound for Damien? Is that the suicide that was mentioned in the warning? Finally, the world reformed back to my room with Diana back by the window.
The Demon Lord, despite his sadistic pleasures, loved Damien's mother beyond anything else, even his own wives. When she killed herself, the Demon Lord blamed Damien and his ability to read minds. The only ones who convinced him not to kill Damien were his brothers, so the Demon Lord granted Damien his life. But he would be doomed to become a lowly slave as soon as the eldest became lord.
I looked to Damien, who had a face of both murderous hatred and pure sadness as he glared at Diana. The woman he glared at, however, simply chuckled.
So, one day, he was visited by an angel who told him about humans and painted him a pretty picture about them. Now, he's obsessed with it.
Why are you telling me this? Why are you doing all of this?
To butter you both up, of course. I'm about to give him the chance to have his wish granted.
Damien and I stared in pure disbelief. Was Diana serious? She was a nut job. Diana laughed, seeing both of our faces.
I needed to see how well you could handle his past. You can't have true love without seeing all sides of your love, now can you?
Well, guess what, mother effer? I still love him, so... Diana then looked fully to Damien, crossing her arms. Something about this struck a fear chord with me, but I watched in silence.
I offer you this, bastard son. I have the ability to turn you completely human. No magic, no mind reading.
But the fact is, I wouldn't want Damien to take this, honestly. But then that means he has to be a slave forever. But I don't know.
You're lying.
Am I? Read my mind. See for yourself.
Damien stared at Diana, only to go wide-eyed at her.
You're not. But...
That's right. Your humanity for your brothers.
I looked at Diana in surprise. What? She wanted him to stand his brothers over to her. That was underhanded and cruel.
Think about it, Damien. You can finally be human. You won't hurt anyone anymore. You won't put her in danger.
I could see Damien look at me, instinctively making me look back at him. He had a look of fear, which scared me. Was he going to say yes? Was he going to say no? I wouldn't know what to do in this situation.
All I ask is that you completely willingly let me take your brothers back home. No big deal if that means you get to be a human with the girl of your dreams, right?
No.
Excuse me?
I said no. I will not give my brothers over to you.
I could see Diana's anger flare up like a snake ready to strike.
You do realize what you're denying yourself, right? You're giving up your one chance to become human.
I'd rather remain a demon than let my brothers be your slaves. Now leave.
Diana gripped her hands into fists by her sides, glared daggers at Damien. However, she didn't move to strike. She raised one of her hands and rubbed her temple in pure anger.
Then I'm curious, Damien. What would you trade for your humanity? You wouldn't go so far as to have sex with me for it, would you?
What? Damien remained silent. I looked at Damien, expecting him to answer. But why was he not replying? My mind went into a mini frenzy. Was he willing to have sex with Diana for it? Diana let a large surprised smile appear on her face at Damien's silence.
Or would you? Interesting. And if I were to offer that?
I'm kind of really upset right now. I never felt so like hooked up into a visual novel in my life. It feels like I'm legit there. Like I'm actually going through this. Well, I guess this is where I'm gonna stop too, cause before I cry my eyeballs out. I doubt Damien would though. I'm pretty sure he will not. I hope. I feel like I cannot go through this 4 more other times for these guys, but you know, this game is like pretty awesome. Props to the creator and her writing skills. Oh my god. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I'm quite in a sad mood. If I cry at the end of this, I'm terribly sorry. Like I'm giving you guys a warning right now. If I cry, I'm terribly sorry. Whoever has voice act for Damien, you're like incredibly amazing cuz I feel for you. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Stay beautiful and I'll see you guys next time.